There is a moment, after the awakening and after the unlearning, when the man stands on the cleared ground of himself and faces a new silence. It is not the silence of emptiness, but the silence before creation. The demolition is complete. The old structures of borrowed identity have been razed. The comforting noise of the crowd is a distant echo. He has mastered the art of saying no to what is not him. But now the universe, in its gentle, relentless way, asks the only question that matters next. What will you say yes to? This is the moment the builder is born. Not from a place of ambition, but from a place of necessity. Not to prove anything, but because the energy of life within him demands expression in form. He understands now that to be a man is not merely to think or to feel or to resist, it is fundamentally to build. And his first, most important construction project is his own life. This urge to build is the natural next step of a consciousness that has come online. For years, perhaps his entire life, he was a consumer. He consumed ideas, opinions, products, validation, experiences. He lived in a world built by others, following blueprints he never questioned. Even his rebellion was often just a consumption of a different brand of identity. But in the clarity of his awakening, he sees the profound passivity of this existence. To only consume is to be a ghost in someone else's machine. It is to live on the surface of reality, never leaving a mark, never adding a single brick to the edifice of the world. The builder within him stirs with a quiet, primal insistence. Says, "You have taken. Now you must give. You have learned. Now you must make. You have found yourself. Now you must offer that self to the world in a form that can be seen, touched, or felt." This building begins inwardly with the most crucial foundation: integrity. For the awakened man, integrity is no longer a moralistic concept about right and wrong. It is an engineering principle. It is the absolute alignment between the inner truth and the outer action. A building with a cracked foundation cannot stand, no matter how beautiful its facade. A life built on a misalignment between what he knows to be true and what he actually does will inevitably collapse into anxiety, duplicity, and despair. So his first act as a builder is the meticulous, unglamorous work of checking his own foundation. He audits his life. Where is he saying one thing and doing another? Where is he compromising a core value for convenience? Where is he betraying a subtle knowing to keep the peace? He does this not with self-flagellation, but with the calm precision of a surveyor. Each alignment he corrects is a load-bearing wall made solid. Each hypocrisy he removes is a shoddy material replaced with stone. This internal integrity becomes the bedrock upon which everything else will rest. It is non-negotiable. From this bedrock emerges a new relationship with time. The consumer lives in a perpetual present, chasing the next hit of pleasure, distraction, or validation. The builder thinks in generations. He understands that anything of substance, a strong body, a masterful skill, a deep relationship, a meaningful legacy, is built in seasons, not in days. He learns the art of delayed gratification not as a punishment, but as the sacred rhythm of creation. He is willing to lay bricks today that he will not see the top of for years. He plants trees under whose shade he may never sit. This patience is not passive waiting. It is active, faithful construction. It is the understanding that the most powerful force in the universe is not sudden inspiration, but consistent application. The builder's calendar is not marked by deadlines imposed from outside, but by cycles of planting, tending, and harvesting that he has consciously chosen. He trades the frantic, scattered energy of the consumer for the focused, cumulative energy of the craftsman. With integrity as his foundation and patience as his rhythm, he then turns to the selection of his materials. In the age of the consumer, materials are cheap, plentiful, and disposable. Feelings are materials. Opinions are materials. Relationships are materials. They are used for momentary effect and then discarded. The builder is a strict materialist in the truest sense. He asks of every potential material, "Is this true? Is this durable? Will this bear weight?" He becomes discerning. He stops building his self-esteem from the flimsy plywood of social media likes. He stops constructing his worldview from the brittle plaster of popular opinion. He stops forming friendships from the cheap particle board of shared complaint or hollow camaraderie. He seeks out oak and iron and stone. He looks for truths that are hard and weather-worn. He seeks skills that are earned through sweat and repetition. He cultivates relationships that are forged in shared trials and mutual respect. He understands that what you build with determines what you build for. A shack built from fear can only house anxiety. A temple built from truth can shelter a soul. The first visible structure the man builds is often his daily discipline, the architecture of his ordinary hours. The consumer's day is reactive, a series of responses to external demands and internal whims. The builder's day is intentional, a structure he designs. He becomes the architect of his morning, his work, his rest. He installs routines not as cages, but as load-bearing walls that create space for freedom within them. The morning ritual of silence and planning is the foundation stone of the day's productivity. The scheduled block for deep work is the steel beam that allows for meaningful creation. The dedicated time for physical upkeep is the maintenance of the very temple he inhabits. This self-constructed discipline is the ultimate expression of sovereignty. He is no longer at the mercy of his moods or the world's chaos. He has built a stable inner environment from which to operate. This discipline is not rigid. It is resilient. It allows him to withstand storms because it was designed for them. In this phase, he often feels alone. The path of the builder is a quiet one. The crowd is cheering at the stadium of quick wins and viral fame, while he is in a small, dusty workshop, sanding a piece of wood for the 10th hour. The world celebrates the spark of ignition. He is committed to the long, slow burn. This solitude is essential. It is in the quiet workshop of his own life, away from the opinions and applause, that he develops his own standards. The consumer standard is external. Did people like it? Did it sell? The builder's standard is internal, whispered by the materials and the form itself. Is it square? Is it sound? Is it honest? Does it serve its purpose? This internal compass is his most treasured tool. It frees him from the tyranny of trends and the anxiety of comparison. He is not competing with anyone. He is in dialogue with the work itself, with the potential inherent in the materials, with the vision in his mind's eye. This is a sacred conversation, and it cannot be heard in a crowd. This is the foundation phase. It is undramatic. It is often tedious. There are no unveilings, no celebrations. There is only the slow, steady accumulation of aligned actions, patiently executed with quality materials, within a disciplined frame. He is building the man who can build. He is constructing the character that will be capable of bearing the weight of a meaningful life. He is learning to trust his own hands, his own judgment, his own rhythm. The world does not see it yet. From the outside, he may just look like a man who has become very quiet, very focused, very still. But inside, in the sacred space he has cleared and fortified, the first true lines of a blueprint are being drawn in permanent ink. The demolition is over. The foundation is being laid. And it is made of something the world has forgotten the value of: dust, patience, sweat, and truth. This is how a real life begins. Not with a shout, but with the first sure strike of a hammer on a nail that will hold for 100 years. The foundation, once set, does not yearn to remain hidden. It exists for one purpose: to bear weight, to provide a level plane from which to rise. The man who has built his inner integrity, who has gathered his durable materials and mastered his daily discipline, now stands upon a plinth of his own making. He looks out at the horizon of his one wild life, and the question shifts. It is no longer "who am I?" or "what should I reject?" The question now is architectural, spatial, profound in its simplicity. What will I fill this space with? The builder's second act is the raising of structures, visible, tangible expressions of the invisible work that came before. This is where essence takes form. This is where the inner life becomes an outer life. This is the art of constructing a reality that is not found, but forged. He begins with the closest, most intimate structure, his physical presence. The body is not merely a vessel he inhabits. It is the first building he is responsible for, the primary monument to his values. The consumer sees the body as a pleasure device or a canvas for ornament. The builder sees it as a temple, a tool, and a testament. He builds strength into its frame not for aesthetics, but for capability, the capability to work, to protect, to endure, to experience the physical world with vibrancy. He builds health into its systems not to avoid death, but to fully inhabit life. He builds posture and bearing not as a performance, but as the natural expression of an inner foundation that is level and solid. The way he moves through a room with deliberate ease, with unanxious strength, becomes the first visible architecture of his character. People may not notice the individual bricks, but they feel the presence of the building. They sense the reliability in his handshake, the calm in his stance, the focused energy in his gaze. His body becomes a silent ambassador of the builder's creed. What is within shall be made manifest without. From the architecture of self, he expands to the architecture of his environment. His space, a room, a home, a workshop, ceases to be a mere backdrop for consumption and becomes an extension of his inner world. The consumer fills space with purchases, with clutter, with distractions. The builder curates space with intention. He asks of every object, does it serve a purpose? Does it bring beauty? Does it resonate with truth? He understands that his surroundings are not passive. They are an active dialogue. A cluttered, chaotic space whispers anxiety to the subconscious. A clean, ordered, purposeful space hums with clarity. He builds shelves to hold the books that shaped him. He clears a corner for silent contemplation. He maintains his tools with care, for they are the instruments of his will upon the world. His environment becomes a sacred workshop, a physical echo of the order he has cultivated within. It is a place where creation is possible because distraction has been designed out. Then comes the most complex and rewarding construction, his work. Not his job, but his work, the meaningful expenditure of his energy and skill upon the world. The consumer works for an outcome, a paycheck, a title, external validation. The builder works for the process itself, for the integrity of the craft. He may not be able to abandon his profession overnight, but he begins to inject the builder's mindset into every task. He asks, how can I do this with more care? How can I solve this problem with more elegance? How can I leave this little corner of the world better than I found it? He stops working to impress a boss and starts working to meet his own inner standard of excellence. This shift is seismic. It transforms drudgery into practice and practice into mastery. He starts to see his labor, however humble, as a kind of prayer, a daily offering of focused attention and applied skill. And from this soil, true vocation often grows. A side project becomes a passion. A solved problem becomes a service. A mastered skill becomes a calling. He builds his work, brick by brick, into a cathedral that gives his life meaning, because it is a meaning he poured into it himself. Next, he turns his builder's eye to his relationships. He sees now that most connections are not built. They are accumulated through proximity and convenience, like driftwood collecting on a shore. The builder does not collect relationships. He constructs them. He understands that a real relationship, like any sturdy structure, requires a blueprint of shared values, the solid materials of honesty and reliability, and the patient labor of time and attention. He becomes a conscious architect of his social world. He invests deeply in a few, letting the superficial many fade into the background. He builds relationships through shared doing, through projects, through hardship, through creating something together, not just through shared talking. He is not afraid to be the load-bearing beam, providing stability and support. He also has the discernment to know when a relationship is built on a faulty foundation and must be carefully deconstructed, not with drama, but with the quiet respect one shows when dismantling something that cannot stand. His circle becomes small, strong, and weatherproof. As these structures rise, the strong self, the intentional space, the meaningful work, the deep relationships, a new quality emerges in his life. Legacy. Legacy is not something left behind at death. It is the living, cumulative effect of a life spent building. It is the sum of all the structures, visible and invisible, that he has erected. The consumer's legacy is a receipt, a list of things consumed. The builder's legacy is a skyline. It is the wisdom embedded in his children because he built a family culture of integrity. It is the strength in his community because he built reliable alliances and contributed real value. It is the beauty in a corner of the world because he built a garden, a business, a piece of art, or simply a reputation for being a man whose word was mortar and whose hand was steady. He builds knowing that he is a link in a chain. He honors the builders who came before by adding his own well-made section. He builds for the builders who will come after, leaving them solid ground and perhaps a few elegant blueprints of possibility. The man who builds understands the final, humbling truth. He is both the architect and a temporary tenant. The structures he raises will outlast him. They will be tested by storms he will never see. This knowledge does not sadden him. It liberates him from vanity. It makes his building an act of pure love, an offering to the future, a defiance of entropy. He builds not because he is permanent, but precisely because he is not. He builds to say, I was here. I understood the assignment of consciousness. I took the raw materials of time and potential, and I made something that can shelter, that can inspire, that can endure. In the end, the builder's life is his masterpiece. It is not a perfect, gleaming monument. It has cracks where the light gets in. It has corners that are not quite square, telling the story of his human limitations. But it is sound. It is honest. It shelters what is precious. It stands against the wind. When he looks upon what he has built, the life, the relationships, the work, the quiet impact, he does not feel pride in the ego sense. He feels the deep, quiet satisfaction of a craftsman who has respected his materials, honored his vision, and fulfilled the primal, sacred mandate, to not merely pass through the world, but to leave it indelibly, irreversibly, and beautifully changed by his having been here. He came. He saw the emptiness and the potential, and he built.